Well, hi everybody, and welcome back to Impi, your friendly catamaran. So, we are a couple sailing around the world on our catamaran Impi, a Lagoon 440 catamaran, having departed South Africa many years ago now. Well, Cape Town to Brazil, up through the Caribbean islands, the British Virgin Islands, Turks and Caicos, the Bahamas, Florida and the Keys, down to Cuba, Jamaica, Panama, Las Perlas, Galapagos Islands, Marquesas to the Tuamotu Archipelago, the Society Islands to Samoa, Tonga, Fiji, Vanuatu, New Caledonia, down to New Zealand, back to New Caledonia, and currently, having just arrived in Australia, we have sailed many miles on this boat. It is truly our home on the sea. Right, so this is part 4 of our experience sailing through the Southern Lagoon of New Caledonia. We hope you have seen part 1, 2 and 3, and if not, we would encourage you to do so. So those of you who watched part 3 of this series, you'll recall our visit to the island of Matu. The island itself not as beautiful as many in the Southern Lagoon area, however the views from up on top of this island are just remarkable. Right, so we're on a beautiful island called Matu. Yeah, and this is a sort of a reef-fringed island, but very beautiful. I must say we spent a very calm night here, which is nice as well, because sometimes on these islands you've got no sort of shelter. You try and duck behind the reefs, but at high tide, you know, the ocean moves over the reef, and one sort of then feels the swell, and the boat kind of jostles backwards and forwards. But here it has a sort of a surrounding reef, and it feels very calm. There's good internet on the island, so we can talk to all of you guys, we can post things, which we haven't been able to do in a while, especially down in the southern part of the lagoon. So So Matu Island was a great island, which we refer to as, you know, one of those catch-up islands. A place to catch up with civilization through good internet connection, to get some good night's rest, to explore the island, look down over this magnificent reef system, the different colors of blues that just sparkle in the sun. And yeah, one sort of leaves here wondering why we are leaving. But of course there are many islands to explore, and talk about exploring, we will leave Matu Island for Ieroue, another beautiful island. Cool background music that was. Now, sailing here one needs to observe the reefs and corals as well. You know, the island lies in a zone clearly marked on navionics charts as being a territory where mapping has not been completed and as a navigational hazard. Still, in the beautiful sunlit waters, obstacles are easily seen and it is well worth making the effort to do the short trip across to Ieroue. So approaching Ieroue, one finds a shallow reef system which drops off as a vertical wall for about 8 to 12 meters. Now we are looking to anchor off a break in the reef so we can find sand at about 5-meter depth to anchor. Well, hey guys, we've arrived at an island called Ieroue. Ieroue. It's really, really beautiful. Let's take a look at it from the inside here first of all. An amazingly beautiful island. Lovely light, of course. Hey, love. Okay, so now may be a good time for me to share this. Some folks have written to me asking how we determine the length of chain to put out when anchoring. Well, this is a great question, and some factors can influence this, such as condition or material of the seabed, the type and style and weight of one's anchor, the weight of the chain, the strength of wind and current. These are to name but a few. But let me demonstrate the basics of how we go about this in average conditions. So our depth meter tells us the depth of water we are in. Now explanations of how this happens or takes place can become quite technical, with a transmitter supplying a powerful pulse of electric energy, the transducer converting the pulse into an acoustical pressure wave in the water, and it receives this echo which is converted back into electrical energy. This is amplified and applied to the depth indicator. But let's try to keep this simple. A fitting we call a transducer, which I've sort of colored in red, a red dot over here, goes through the hull in most cases. It emits a sound in the water, the sound travels down, bounces back off the seabed below, it's called an echo. The echo is recorded as time taken to receive that echo, called a sonic pulse, and this is converted to distance or to depth. Now the transducer here sits well above the bottom of the keel. On Impi about 0.6 meters, we call it a meter. And really we want at first glance on the meter to be seeing what the actual depth is under the keel to the seabed below, and not the depth from the transducer down. And we do this by setting an offset on the instrument. Let's show you. Right, so here we've got an ST70. Impi has 3 of these on board, 1 inside and 2 outside. Right, we can see over here that we have a depth reading of 2.3 meters, and I know that's reading from under the keel. The reason I know that is because we have set it to read from under the keel. So to check that out, you can press menu, go across on your tabs until you get advanced options right there, enter, and you will see we have come up with a thing called transducer setup. Hit enter again, searching for transducers. We've got wind and depth. Press enter to continue, and we can see now we are able to adjust the sensor right here under depth offset. Press enter, and you'll see we have the keel, and that's where we've set it to, and the keel being of 1 meter deeper than the actual transducer. Now one can adjust this over here, of course. That would really be where it would be at, but we've taken it to 1 meter. We've got an extra 400 safety on there, and you can do this for the keel, the transducer itself. You can read directly from the transducer at 00, or you can read from the water line. You can adjust these values. We like to read from the bottom of the keel, so let's just put that back to where it needs to be. 1 meter, we're happy with that. And we are now in business. Cancelling takes one back to the main menu, and there you can see 2.3 meters below our keel. Now the draft of a vessel, of course, is calculated from the surface of the water to the bottom of the keel, or the deepest part of the boat. On our particular boat, the draft is 1.3 meters. The bottom of our keel is 0.6 meters or 600 millimeters below the transducer, so we want to set an offset that is safe. So we will assume it sits 1 meter below the transducer as opposed to 0.6. This means that with an offset of 1 meter, we actually have a 0.4 meter or 400 millimeter safety margin. We now know that whatever we see on the gauge is the depth our vessel will clear between the underside of the keel and the seabed below, and that's how we like it. In this case, we are reading 5 meter depth as seen on our display, and therefore 5 meters below the keel to the seabed. Our draft, as previously mentioned, is 1.3 meters, which as mentioned is the distance from the underside of the keel to the water surface, vice versa. Now we set up the anchoring position such that the anchor and bridle basically pull from the position you can see, which is just to the underside of the cross beam, as marked by the red circle in the drawing. Now this means we need to take into consideration the additional height above the water to the bridle and chain position, since this is the position where it will pull from. Well, in this case, 1.3 meters above the surface of the water. So from the anchor or bridle position on the boat to the underside of the keel, we have a constant 2.6 meters. That is the 1.3 meter draft plus the 1.3 meter above the water. This is, as said, a constant figure, 2.6 meters. And the number which changes now is what we record as depth under the keels, recorded on our depth gauge, which in this case is 5 meters. We now take the sum of these two values, 5 meters, and we add 2.6 meters, which gives us a total of 7.6 meters. We like to round this up. We get 8 meters for calculation purposes, and we are now ready to calculate the length of chain we wish to drop. Now the scope we like to use is 1 in 4. So for every 1 meter depth, which here is 8 meters, we put out 4 meters of chain. So 8 times 4 gives us a total length of 32 meters of chain, which we will put out. Now a scope of 1 in 3 in crowded anchorages is okay if wind does not get up and the seabed has good holding. 1 in 5 to 1 in 6 as the winds become really strong to gale force, but generally we are fine on 1 in 4.
Back to the islands, man.
Woo, beautiful island again. Amazing, lovely reef. How beautiful is this, love? Anna's enjoying this, and I know there's going to be a yoga shot on this little island because she's getting her camera ready for me. Yeah man, gotta love watching Anna do yoga. She is regularly the first one to put footprints into the sand on any given day. One of the great things about cruising is meeting new people. Zane and Michelle are a couple who liaised with us way back when, through social media, and just amazing to meet this couple here in New Caledonia and to do some cruising with them. Hey, you two lovebirds! Bonjour! Hey, not buongiorno, you Kiwis. Ah, you Italian. Hey, Zaina, how's it going, bro?
I keep forgetting that South African word for...
Buona.
Buona. Hey, Buona.
Hey, Buona, how's it going, man? All good? Hey, Shell, how's it going? Are you good? Oh, look at this, eh? Such technique here. Such technique. Oh, very good, very good. Zane and Michelle, they've just arrived on Libertalia, good friends of ours. And nice to have Zane and Michelle joining us on this island. It's like good people, beautiful island, nice and serene, and oh man, I'm just so not looking forward to leaving New Caledonia, man. Oh, awesome people, man, awesome. Right folks, let me show you some scenes around this amazing island. New Caledonia, later in the season, always has these days on end of swimming pool like conditions. We can't believe it. Our second season, and it proves just to be the same. One can hardly imagine how beautiful it is to be on these islands where the only sounds you will hear are those of Mother Nature. And that, my friends, is New Caledonia. Enough said. New Caledonia. So those who follow our travels will know that I have often referred to these sea snakes which are found everywhere on these islands, or trichorae, which, although being considered the most venomous in the world, are actually fairly harmless if one treats them with the respect that they deserve.
Right, mate. Get me out of here.
like many of the islands in New Caledonia, which look very small on the charts, they just amaze me. This island amazes me. The coastal lines are very diverse. You have rocks, you have sand, you have long beaches, you have small beaches, you have it all here. One should never underestimate the small size of these islands on charts. And walking around this island is best done when the tide is mid-tide or low tide. High tide makes it difficult to walk around, and one really does want to discover the diversity of the different little shores around these islands. These are all clams. They look like stones, but they're actually clams. Is it?
Je ne sais pas, mais c'est en français.
Ah, merci beaucoup. Some awesome moments on sailing vessel Libertalia. Zane and Michelle.
Zane, do you want to maybe get in the dinghy and use the engine, boy?
Ooh, these ladybirds.
Lady. Yes, and what to do with cabbages, how to make cabbages last a long time in the fridge.
How to make cabbages last? How do you make cabbages last a long time?
I don't know, I've never done it.
How long have you been cruising?
How long have we been cruising? But we did buy the boat last season, but we did a huge install, so...
Now, what is a huge install? What have you put on the boat?
Wow, it's everything you can't see, but we've put water makers,
yeah.
radar, Wi-Fi,
A lot of money under the
wind
bonnet.
generator, rewired everything, and your electric heads.
And which water maker did you put on?
Spectra 150.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very nice. 220 volts?
Yes.
Okay, very nice.
You know your water makers.
Just checking it. I think we've actually got a smaller Spectra. We've got a 12 volt Spectra. It's a lot of people here, eh?
Oh, really? Awesome. Just what I want. Lots of people.
Michelle was asking me, do I look at you or the camera? Now, normally I tell the chicks to always look at me, but in this instance, you know,
Okay,
the camera will be. A very talented young man here writing music for their good friends on Libertalia. Where are we going, Zane?
Where are we going?
Yeah.
No, we're not going anywhere.
Oh, the mainsail's not going up?
No.
Oh, I thought we were going for a little sunset cruise here, man. I thought this was a little sunset cruise.
We've got manatee and turtles while we're drifting in semicircles on our anchor within the bay. Not a lot on our plate today, no agenda, clock or list. First of 7 sunsets kissed when I snuck aboard at Ieroue to rest a while on Libertalia. Oh, a lady full of liberty, a pirate of the sea, Libertalia. Oh, she never came.
Beautiful, hey?
Woo! Amazing.
Hey man, these guys have got talent. I'm gonna have to bring them across to Impi for a while so we can get a Impi song or something like that going here, man. Guys, top tip. If you're ever in an anchorage with Libertalia, just pretend to be their friends even. Really cool.
Sailing away, I wonder why it hurts so much to say goodbye to those you meet along the way and came to care for in just a few days. Meeting people's the name of the game. Having fun under a setting sun, telling stories of your trip and all the troubles with your ship. Sailing away, I wonder why it hurts so much to leave behind places you've been along the way and became your home so far away. You share your food, you share your drinks, and you share all your dreams of places yet to see along a journey that's meant to be. There are so many roads there on the sea. Still I wonder why you care so much for those you leave behind. Yesterday you didn't know them. Today they're your dear friends. Will you see them again? You don't know how the story goes, but once the sails are set, you know there are those out there you haven't met.